And hey, everyone!
Ahoy, ahoy.
It's a little bit of a smaller group right now. We might have more people joining us, but we kind of just want to do an overview of this last season of Strange New Worlds and I guess go over episode by episode very casually, but also get your opinions on how you like the season as a whole and how and I guess the individuals the episodes individually. I can talk. It's fine. So I guess Stan, since you're the only other person here, what was your thoughts on the entire season?
Hi, everybody. So I really enjoyed this season. I thought um, the I'm going to try and be super positive throughout, but the one critical note, that's a lie. I'm going to nitpick, I'm sure. But one critical thing I thought that was interesting. I found myself enjoying season one a little more than season two, which is very weird for Star Trek. Except maybe the next generation. And that is not one particular character's fault. It's a behind the scenes and story fault. But uh, man, this Adderall shortage is going to make the stream real rough for me. I apologize ahead of time. I love this
No.
season, but I'm going to be very scatterbrained. Super fun.
Oh,
I
you're not the
love.
only one dealing with that.
Oh goodness, it has been rough um,
Mm-hmm.
for several months now. It's super fun. Um, get on it, drug makers. Make some money. I am willing. But back to the season. I love that they were very true to their. I am too loud. Okay. I was too quiet earlier. How is this?
I think
Am I
that's
am I
good.
still
I wouldn't push
screaming at
it.
everybody?
I don't think so. I wouldn't push it any farther away because I think
Yeah.
then you'd be.
I was just matching Benji's energy because he screamed hi at us.
Um, can you?
Cool.
I might be able to move. I had to move my mic out of the way while I was doing day job stuff because important people were there that I'm like, I don't know if you need to know about this side of my life.
Yeah, I love that I was basically just screaming about Adderall at you all. I'm sorry, everybody. Every stream, it's
I
different.
understand.
Like
I
earlier,
understand
somebody was
the.
like, "You're too quiet." Now you're too loud.
Mm,
Okay, so we can't. You're.
okay.
I'm still louder than Rachel, but I am apparently not
Okay.
screaming at everybody.
Let me see. If I move closer to my mic this way, can you hear me any better? Um. Okay. Well, I guess I'll. We'll see if people can hear me in a second. I can also turn my gain up because I've got a control thing. That would help.
Well, in that case, I will restart now that I'm not screaming at everybody. Hopefully, and I will answer your question. I really enjoyed this season. Overall, I didn't think it hit the same way as first season. That may have been the newness of it, except for the Una front. We got more Una this season. That was definitely lacking last season. Still want more. Still want more Una always. I thought them being true to their episodic nature worked really well this season. If there was a bit of a whiplash some weeks, particularly the last three, uh, but overall, I really enjoyed it. There's some good stuff in there. There's some stuff I wish they maybe leaned into more, did differently, nitpicky, but um, I loved it. I love anything Trek, and this season did hit a lot of great notes for me. What did you
Yeah,
think?
I really enjoyed this season as well. I try to decide. I think I like it about equally with season one, where it's it's hard for me to decide which one I like more. I think there was definitely. I think in season one, it was such a breath of fresh air to have episodic Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And but there are some episodes that I just really really loved. I'm I still and so some stuff I didn't expect to love as much as I did. Like I like loving Paul Wesley Kirk in a way I didn't expect to, because I'm not like the biggest. I don't think either of us are the biggest like Kirk. Like I was gonna call myself a fangirl. You can call that yourself if you want, but
Sam Kirk,
I
yes. Jim Kirk, no. But that's mostly the mustache.
uh, the
Not mostly. I just think he's gorgeous.
he's a very good looking man. You're not wrong. I but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed again the episodic nature of it. Like it's and it did episodic the way I really enjoyed episodes. Like there was some like some through lines throughout episodes, but mostly like they're self-contained episodes in a way other modern Trek I can't see me as much going to watch like one random episode, whereas I
Mm-hmm.
can with Strange New Worlds, and that's often how I enjoyed like how I've enjoyed like older Trek. Here,
It looks like
I'll
your
try to
mic is
mess with
still
the
a little
settings.
low.
Maybe. Yeah. I let me see if maybe I can just adjust this to be closer to me. Um, is that helping at all?
Sound off in the chat if you can hear Rachel.
Yeah. I don't. Can you hear me, Stan? That's
I
the
can. It's fine.
okay. Um, here I will see like if people are talking.
Oh,
I guess
I think you need to angle the microphone up. It's angled down right now.
yeah, that might be. Oh, I think it might have fallen for a second earlier.
Yeah,
So
that
maybe
sounds better for me too.
okay, cool. That is probably what was going
Yes.
on. The okay, sorry. I'm gonna mute my. I have to fix something on the mic real quick that just came undone, and I don't want you to hear me fumbling with the mic.
All right, I will keep vamping for everybody. So, sound off in the chat what you thought of this season while Rachel angles the mic closer to her mouth. Anybody have overall thoughts on the season as a whole? Any favorite episodes? I'm sure we'll get into it. Favorite character moments? That is correct, Geek Filter. We were promised an Ortegas episode, and we did not get it. We know two things about Ortega. She is a war veteran, and she flies the ship. I love her, and I want more of her. I would like to know more. We got some good backstory on the Klingon War for some other characters, and it probably wouldn't have fit in that episode because her being there too would have been a little too small universe, which is one thing about this season and all of Trek. It's a little small universe. Everybody knows everybody, but definitely also wish we had more Ortegas. Love the season except for taking Uhura's memories. That is a TOS reference that even I get vaguely. Brian says the entire season had so much emotional whiplash, funny, then sad, funny, then dramatic. And there's agreement there. Benji liked it. DT loved it overall. The Mortegas movement happened after season 1. Yeah, Jill says Uhura losing her memories in TOS is getting more heartbreaking every week. That is accurate. And again, I'm not the biggest TOS fan, but that definitely hit for me. I was like, oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that. All these lovely things that are happening.
I'm about ready to just hold this like a singer. So like this fell
Yes.
for like a second, and it just like now does not want to fix itself. So
And funny enough, now you were screaming at me slightly.
yeah, that makes sense because now I'm holding it like a mic, and I was messing with the gain earlier to like try and fix the problem. Yeah, I will say that 2 West episode just is always just like, yeah, horror loses their memory. That's fine.
Yeah. Not that she has all these wonderful things to remember anyway. Whoops.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that you're back, let me turn back the agenda to you. What were you wanting to talk about?
Oh, I the what everyone thought of this season was that worked for me. But yeah, that I did not get an Ortega's episode. That I would like really much like that. It's funny because it's funny when everyone was talking about Among the Lotus Eaters. They're like, that can't have been it. I was like, I bet that was it. Like they think that's an Ortega's episode.
Yeah, no. Um, I loved those moments for her. Like I,
Mm-hmm.
as much as it's now become a trope that like she flies the ship and that's all that there is about
Yeah,
her. Um,
she had
I'm
really good
torn.
moments. Like,
Yeah,
and it's like but it was like none of the episodes would just like sit and focus on her specifically.
yeah, and I'm torn by this notion that if we're thinking about the same moment, like that moment in Among the Lotus Eaters, where like she was like, oh yeah, I fly the ship, and she was using that mantra to
Mhm.
keep her memory alive and get back to her station, and
Yeah.
the I think the execution made it a little wonky for me. Like she left the bridge and then just had to go right back to the bridge. She should have. I think they should have had her
Mm-hmm.
start losing her memory elsewhere and then like her rediscover the helm rather than go back to where she was literally 5 minutes earlier. Might have made
That's
it hit a little
true.
differently. But I liked that um, she in like I fly the ship, like she found hopefully not all of her value. All they're showing us is her
Mhm.
value is her work. I've been talking about this a lot this week actually with colleagues and friends. Like I through my 20s and
Yeah.
30s, most of my value I derived from my work, and that's luckily no longer the case. I still find value there, but I am a
Hmm.
whole ass person, and I'm finding value in my Trek family and in my improv and writing. So I want the same for Ortega's. I want her to be more than just the pilot.
Yeah, I definitely get that. It's like sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to put work away and go do literally anything else.
She also
Um,
had some really good some good friendship moments. I like seeing her with Uhura and Chapel and La'an in various places. I think they could have given her more to do, but I did like the the friendship that we're seeing amongst the
yeah.
women.
I would say I hadn't heard this. This would make sense to me though, if this like that they ended up having to like write around not having her as much.
I thought, well, I mean, grief is not linear, but I thought that
Hmm.
happened before the series even premiered. Um, but again,
I
grief isn't linear. I could see around anniversaries and
But they were
things of that
filming
nature.
season 2 while season 1 was coming out.
True, true.
Yeah, so that still could have been going on. Excuse me while I replace the mic with my water bottle.
I do think one thing that I appreciate about the show is I can fully believe that, and Pike this season, particularly in the first couple of
Hmm.
episodes, Anson Mount said, "I'm a new dad. I'm going to be with my kid," and they were like, "Cool, we've got this ensemble cast. Let's let them shine." And I think for
Yeah.
the most part, it worked out really well, and I would love to see that more with more dads taking up that space because babies need both their parents when possible in the
Yes,
early
totally.
early days.
I in Vegas, Anson Mount talked about a little bit about like giving up like another role, a different like role in a movie because he was like, nope, I have to like because it was like would have been during the third trimester, and he was like, nope, can't risk it. And I appreciate that we're focusing on like how important fathers are to their children as well. Um, that is a good Ortega's line.
Yeah, I think that I have a hard time with the words best and favorite sometimes with Trek because they're all so
Oh,
different,
totally.
especially these episodes. But the crossover episode is definitely in my top three for
Oh,
sure.
it's so good. And I think
So
there's
funny.
definitely a like, and if, because of like, especially this kind of Trek where it's very episodic, it depends what mood I'm in, what I want to watch. Do I want a sad romantic story? Great, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Do I want a goofy
Right.
fun time? Let's throw on these old scientists or Subspace Rhapsody.
Yeah. What were
Um,
y'all's favorite
yeah,
episodes? Throw them in the chat.
yeah. We can't. I pulled up a list of the episodes. Sorry, I got a little distracted by my mic, just trying to not want it to be in its stand.
I thought the premiere this season was really solid.
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
gave
I
most
I really
characters a
enjoyed
way
it.
to shine, and I like that they didn't
Hmm.
immediately get us back to the end of season one. Even though I am always more Una,
Yeah.
team Una, but um, it was really fun, action packed. It
It
gave us good allegory about corporate greed. Loved it.
hmm it felt like a really good way to let the ensemble shine. Um, cause I would say I feel like everyone, but like Pike and Una had that scene at the beginning. That's it for them. But like everyone else got like really good moments. I would say.
Mhm. And it gave
And
Spock
I
practice
yeah
for stealing the ship.
yeah he's really good at it. Um, yeah, this Jill, you're saying yeah, like I love both these old scientists and Subspace Rhapsody. Too. Aaron saying contains one of your favorite episodes of Star Trek and absolute least favorite of Star Trek.
Mhm.
That's, we've got multitudes going on. That's always
Name
good.
them. Name names.
I I don't know if Aaron wants to say, but I think I
You
know
don't
at
have to.
least what
I'm
the
done
least
joking.
favorite is. So that's Aaron's.
Uh,
Um yeah, he like I said, he's really good at it. Honestly, at some point, do you think at some point they're like, we just have to keep Spock off Constitution classes because he's going to steal one if he's on it?
well, I was gonna make a joke. I love Ethan Peck, and I love his portrayal of Spock. I do want a little less Spock. I want to see these other characters, particularly the new characters that they have made
That's
effort to introduce into
fair.
this series.
Yeah.
But the first episode was a really good example of like it's a Spock led episode, but a bunch of other people shine. La'an
Hmm.
got some good time.
Yeah.
Uhura had a couple of small moments, but in Banga and Chapel, we get to see uh, their close friendship. That's something that I really appreciate this season is seeing a close platonic friendship between two characters of different presenting different genders. It's not something we see a lot in media, and you can tell
Yeah.
it's an intimate friendship, but it's not a sexual friendship, and I really appreciate that. They've
And I
been through
love there's
shit
like
together, and they respect each
there's
other.
no hint of it being like romantic or sexual at all between them.
Yeah. I also like that about Pike and Una that they went away from that moment in the cage and some stuff in the comics, and maybe when
Oh yeah.
Battelle dies in 301, that will change. But depending on how they do it, I am typically against that kind of nonsense.
Same. It's like even if like it's I am enjoying Patel a little more now, but I was like even if I wasn't enjoying her, I'd be like, don't fridge her.
Yeah,
Like,
agreed.
uh,
I was surprised she didn't die in the finale, but it was a
oh,
good
I was
surprise. I like
good
her.
surprise. Yeah, I am gonna mute myself real quick because I might have figured out what the
Mhm.
problem with my mic stand is.
Sure, go for it. I will prompt the audience and maybe you if you have some thoughts on this. There's something that I hadn't had the chance to bring up in the salons yet, and I might tonight. One thing that I am curious about is I don't think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, if I don't believe that they have made it clear whether or not Pike has told Marie. about his future. And I'm curious if that's something that they're purposefully holding, if they're not going to touch it. I have, I am a fully able-bodied person. But I have some conflicting thoughts about how they've handled disability in this series. Um, I'm curious about that conversation, and I think it would be interesting and fairly new ground for Trek to cover. Like, hey, by the way, I know for a fact that this thing is going to happen. Um, if that's a problem for you, like, let's talk about it. That'd be, I think that'd be an interesting thing to see in a future episode if she doesn't die.
I do think if she doesn't die, like, because like how they portrayed her so far, like I wouldn't see her just be like, I'm going to abandon you when this happens, but it's like she's also not around in the menagerie, as far as we can
Right.
tell.
Yeah, we know he's gonna end up going to Talos 4 to be with Vina.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be
I hope
helpful if you could
it's
send
great.
one of them over to fix my bike stand.
Yeah.
My bike's
Um,
fine; it's the stand.
that's a good pivot, perhaps. The introduction of TOS characters, or as Will in the salon has called it, TOS. Um, much to Ken's chagrin. I love it though. What were your thoughts on the introduction of yet another TOS character?
I like part of me is like, oh, another one, but I was won over by his Scotty so fast that I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
Okay, let's go. And
same. I had the
I
same
like that
thought.
he's not serving on the Enterprise yet. It's like they just ran him on another mission.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get just a little bit of him in season 3, and Pelia is mentoring, but I hope not at
Yeah,
the expense of Pelia's time on the show. Um,
same. And there's part of me is like, I want to see more of him because he's another TOS character that is important, but wasn't ever really treated as important.
yeah, and I said this last
In the
week
way
on the
you have
salon.
Aurora
If they,
and yeah,
yeah, if
mm-hmm.
they, I like that they've introduced him. I think how they utilize the character is going to be what's important, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think I said this last week. I think if they hadn't had so much of Kirk, it would have hit a little differently. I really loved Kirk's inclusion in Subspace Rhapsody,
Mm-hmm.
and but him, because he was in 3 episodes, right? It was Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Was he in one other before Subspace Rhapsody?
Yeah, he's in the horror episode, and the thing is, part of me is I think I just want
Oh,
a longer
Lost in
season
Translation. Yeah.
because I
Yes.
like all of the episodes with him.
Yes. Yeah. Like yes, exactly. This is one of those, like, man, if they had 12, 15, 18, as many episodes as they can do, but 3 out of 10 kind of gives me like
Mm-hmm.
well, again, we have all of these brand new characters that they've introduced in this series who
Yes,
are really interesting. Like,
exactly.
I like that they were able to I don't want to say correct, because that gives it a negative connotation, but I'm glad that they were able to adjust to have Hammer back in some interesting ways this season, because we
Mm-hmm.
didn't get much of him last season, including his loss, obviously.
Yeah. I did love this meme that Aaron is talking about.
Oh yes, why are you always on my
Why are
ship?
you always on my ship? Like,
Yeah. I thought his inclusion in Subspace, again, if there were longer episodes, him showing up for a
yeah.
third, or longer seasons, a
Mm-hmm.
third episode for Subspace Rhapsody, I thought it was actually delightful that he was there for XO training
Yeah.
under Una. It was a
And
great way
I
for
do
us
think part
to
of it is
see,
probably they
not
were
just
like
be told
doing.
that she's the
Oh yeah.
best ex executive
Mm-hmm.
officer in the fleet. Like, we actually get to see her doing it by training him.
I did really like that. I think that's a really cool way of including him. And I also think part of it was they're like, wait, compulsing? Cool, he's gonna be in this episode.
Right.
Like
Um, and Sam again, Sam's little shimmying.
Yeah.
So great.
I
Sitting there.
Every episode with Sam makes me way more sad about TOS Sam than like
I'm torn because they're making him kind of a dick in Strange New Worlds. Like the one thing I don't like about him is he's a little xenophobic. In the episode last season when Hemmer died, he was a little aggressive with Spock, and he like in the way that Bones was too aggressive with Spock at times in TOS.
Yeah.
But and the last episode, the thing that bothered me about this last episode was everybody was really keen on killing the monsters, and which for some of them I get, but for everybody, including Sam, I thought was, yes, he went through that last season. I could, but he's an anthropologist, like, right, or xenoanthropologist.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I love Lon. I was like, okay, I get why Lon so like gung ho.
Yeah,
there's a massive amount of trauma. Sam compared to her is so much less.
It was also a huge left turn for Mbenga. Like, we just had an episode where he was like, I hate what the Klingon War did to me. And then in this one, he's like, let's go kill some Gorn. That's
true.
A little odd.
Let's be honest. That's an old tradition of Star Trek. Just whiplash. You're like, wait, what happened last week? I joke where there were definitely times they didn't like put together like what episodes were airing. Our Deep Space Nine, what I like to call Bashir's worst week. He finally gets rescued from a Dominion like war camp, and then the next episode he was outed as an augment, and I'm like, couldn't have like given him a week off.
Yeah, he's got some trauma to deal with, but geez.
This is fair. Sam did have a buddy eaten in front of him. Apparently,
this is true.
We can't see, according to Fathery.
Oh, I give it a slight edge to season 1, but it's a close tie. That they're, even as I said earlier, I preferred 1 a little bit. I think I'm going off of the newness of it and the shine versus like, I gotta be honest. I'm probably running up against my own expectations for season 2, which isn't fair.
No, I totally get that. It's like when something is a surprise how much you like it, it's like you end up liking it so much more.
Yeah. And I agree with what Benji is saying here, but I don't think they did it. They didn't do it well in this episode.
I'm betting, because technically that story's not done, so maybe they're setting it up to do it.
They gave us a moment with Pike asking that question. Like, maybe they're acting a little different. I do wish, I wish that they would say and show us more about, like, nobody is saying, hey, these monsters have warp drive. Only April is saying, we don't understand them. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping in season 3 they give us more of that.
Or as Tendi put it in this season, like, someone has to build the ships.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm leaning real hard into they take on characteristics from who they just stayed in. I'm like, all right, well, humans are awful, so I can see monsters coming out of us.
Yeah. I am trying to think. What? So yeah, I think we both agreed. First episode is really solid. It's funny. The second episode of this season is like the only episode I was out of town the week. So it's like Ad Astra per Astra is like the one episode I didn't really get to talk about. Yeah, that episode's fantastic. You must have been so happy with so much Una.
Yes. The only thing that I didn't love about it was so Nira comes in and she says point blank, I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing it for me. And then like a scene later, Una's like, you're not even trying to do this for me, are you? You're just here for your own agenda. Like, girl, she said that. She told you that. So I didn't like the production making that choice. Like she literally just told you and us, the audience, that were you not listening? Well, of course Una would be listening. So I didn't think that served the character well. That was my one nitpick of that episode. I do love Michelle. Hello.
Hi.
What's going
I've been
on?
having
Sorry I'm late.
Hi. No, you're good. You mostly missed my mic stand issues. So
Uh, oh no, that sounds harrowing. How are you all tonight? We're
oh,
doing a recap of the season.
good. Yeah, just of the season. What we kind of talked about episode 1 a little bit, and we've kind of been jumping around, but like what did you think of like the first 2 episodes?
Oh, well, I don't want to interrupt Stan. I know he was just in the middle
Oh,
of
yeah.
a thought. So
I'm literally just vamping because it was only 2 of us, and I actually have to drop in about 6 minutes anyway. So please
okay,
take
well,
the stage.
sounds good. I love this season. I thought it was a strong season. They took a lot of chances, but I think the chances paid off for the most part.
Mhm.
I enjoyed specifically the crossover with Lower Decks. That was very well executed. A lot of pleasant
Yes.
surprises. Hey Joel, hey Valerie, how you doing? See you in the chat. I particularly thought that their focus on relationships was interesting. Especially coming off of Picard season 3, I'm like, okay, they're really going to focus on this stuff. I think they did an
Yeah.
okay job with relationships. I think that the Spock Chapel stuff could have been done a little better. We could have seen more of them happy, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just the sappy part of me, but
Yeah,
ultimately, I
the
think
theme of this season was whiplash, and
Yeah, I
that happened with
totally
them.
get. I think the conclusion I keep coming to is I want a couple more episodes. So they have more time to like build up that kind of thing. So you could have an episode where they immediately, because they know they have to get to this part where they have this like major falling out, they immediately have to turn things sour. Also, can you hear me okay with it on the mic stand now?
yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, cool. Great.
But I would say with
Um,
Spock and Chapel, I felt like it just, like you said, it was very rushed the way they had to get to Pring
mhm.
off stage left and questionable. Like we weren't sure if it was okay for Spock to be pursuing. I guess it was. I don't know. It's maybe not. It's up for debate. But I think ultimately
Unclear.
it was unclear. I mean, I love Pelia. I mean, keep her, please. I hope she comes back. She was fantastic. I thought that
God,
the
like, I
crew
would be
was
so
very.
mad if she doesn't come back.
I will too. She has to come back. I mean, she's about to mentor Scotty, right? But
Yeah.
you know, we'll see. But I didn't mind them introducing like TOS characters, but Kirk, I just felt like there was too much Kirk and not enough Pike. But I still think it's a stronger season than last season. I think that they're finding their footing, they're finding their groove as a crew, you know. And I want to know more about Mortagus. I feel like she's the one that kind of got gypped a little bit this season, although she did have her moments. I have to say, everybody had moments. It wasn't like somebody got forgotten, which was nice.
Yeah. I think it really shows how solid the cast is that every time they're given something to do, they take it, and I'm like, it's memorable to me.
Yeah. They definitely like have bonded too. You can kind of tell they have a good chemistry. You know, and they're just so talented. I mean, the musical episode, oh, that was. We'll talk about that more later.
Who are not trained singing and singers or dancers. I'm like, I'm impressed. Like, I have seen plenty of way worse musical episodes.
Yeah, seriously, they were very talented. I thought, I mean, even like Sam Kirk jumped in there, you know, like Dan Janot and like, you know, Paul Wesley, like they were good. Yeah, they and Anson Mount. I mean, he was John Travoltaing that whole thing. I loved it. And the songs were so good, and they fit they moved the plot. They moved the story forward. You know, it's just a really. It was a really like Stan said though, whiplash. Constant back and forth with we're going to do a really serious episode, then we're going to do a really funny episode, then we're going to have, you know, this character moment, and then we're going to focus more on Starfleet. I don't, you know.
It's
Like
funny
with the
'cause
Gorn,
they
you know?
definitely I feel like that used to be the norm of like the whiplash, and we're just like not used to that anymore. But I
Like TNG would have that for sure. Like, but you know, like they would have like a really serious episode, like the drumhead, and then you'd follow that up with something. You know, you probably wouldn't get the same
no,
tone every episode. But that's when we had a 26 episode season. This is like,
that's true.
and I appreciate that we're doing different things. I don't want them to stop doing different things. I just felt like I kept not being sure what to do, how to feel. You know.
The thing is, I keep saying I want more because we were just talking about like all three of the Kirk episodes. And I said the problem is I like him in all three of them. I just want more episodes also without him, but I still want all three of those.
I actually tomorrow and tomorrow didn't really do it for me. I have to say that's my least favorite episode of the season, and that's not a knock on Christine Chong or Paul Wesley, but I just felt like, and it was essential for La'an's character, but there was a lot of questions in that episode. Oh, really? You're gonna play chess and get a nice hotel room like that? Okay, you know. And just was it something they needed? I don't. It was needed for La'an's story, I guess, but they could have done that a lot of different ways.
Here's my opposite. I love that episode. I am also like, give me a sappy romance, make me feel things, give it to me like that.
I was probably just salty after Picard season 3. I'm like, I don't want any romance in my Star Trek anymore. Y'all can have it. And then of course this season was like all romance. But yeah, we were missing
romance.
Yeah, I didn't, and also it was another Kirk. It wasn't Kirk again. It was like this another alternate Kirk. So I did appreciate the Kirk that we got in the Uhura episode. And Uhura introducing Spock and Kirk was really cool. I appreciate those moments as a TOS fan. Yeah. But there were some episodes like the Lotus Eaters. It was an interesting concept. Would I rewatch it? Like
I liked only really the Pelia moments. Or not only, but I love the Pelia moments. I love that La'an was responsible for her becoming an engineer in a way. And I wish that's another thing. A lot of episodes, I think there were some opportunities that just didn't pay off that really could have. Like I talked about this at the time, but I'll say again, that episode would have been bookended really nicely because it started with Pelia is a thief, with Pelia coming to get her watch back and then letting La'an keep it. There was a scene missing with Pelia being the one that La'an could, because she was a part of the timey-wimey stuff. She could have that moment and she'd be like a great Aunt Pelia. That was the only thing that I thought was missing from that episode. Even though, again, with longer seasons, I would not have minded having this like mainly just 2-character episode as much.
Yeah, I think also with that episode, like I get it. It was a big, like that's absolutely right. It was a big La'an episode that she needed. I just didn't feel like I felt like there were a lot of jumps you had to make in that episode, especially her falling in love with Kirk so fast. I mean, listen, you have City on the Edge of Forever. It happens. I get it. I just wasn't buying into it for whatever reason. You know, maybe it was the Khan thing. Maybe it was just my personal
every Trek romance. I know.
I don't know. Summer, Trek doesn't do it great. I didn't, when I watched TOS, I didn't ship anybody. Like I just was enjoying it, and then I started shipping people. It's like, oh, I enjoy that though. Like, yeah, you want to ship people, do it. That's great. It's just know your expectations at this point.
It's funny. A couple people are saying like they don't really want romance in Trek. I find like stories that have like long stories that have like zero romance, I like find them, I was like, unrealistic at a certain point, and you're like,
right,
they all exist on this ship together. Something's gonna happen.
And also you need
are like romantically interested in each other. Like I was like, I don't believe that at a certain point.
To me, it's the execution that matters most. But speaking of shipping people, I'm shipping out of here. But thanks for having me.
Thanks for
we'll see you at the salon.
My technical issues. Oh yeah.
There you go. But I would say, like, with the romance thing, for me personally, it depends on the chemistry of the character. So, like, I get it. Riker and Troy, like, they're probably the most successful romance. that was not my favorite romance in TNG. So, as many know. But I think the problem is like the emotional investment of the characters, right? Like everybody loves the TNG crew because they're a tight crew. Like they all have strong relationships with each other. I think Strange New Worlds is getting to that point where all the crew members feel like, oh man, we have to find Chapel because that's Chapel. That's our buddy. Like there is a bond between all of them now, which is really cool. And even having like in the last episode, M'Benga and Ortegas, they didn't really have a lot to do, but they were both in the Klingon War, but they haven't really had scenes together. So that was a nice nod, But I think Strange New Worlds is doing new things. I know people have said, I don't think they went to a lot of Strange New Worlds. They've been to other planets. We've gone other places. I think it's what happens, and I feel like they've been trying new stuff and it's been working.
I feel like I feel like they're trying new things like in television as opposed to like in the universe. Like you have like the musical episode, the crossover, like. And honestly, I find that more interesting than being like, let's new alien number 975.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think for me, like I'm reading the comments in the chat too, like Aaron, I feel you like the Klingon K-pop, but honestly, would it have been dishonorable if they had done Klingon opera? No. So of course they had to do the most ridiculous thing. And I'm sorry you didn't like the episode. I absolutely adored the Subspace Rhapsody episode. I thought, again, it was just so well done. It opens the door though. Like, let's not just do musicals to do musicals now. I don't think it's it was successful for a reason because it was an anomaly.
Doing it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, we. Go ahead, Rachel.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. I like even like part of me, my theater kid, was like, give me all the musicals. And part the sane part is like, don't do that. That's not a good idea.
I would love to see every Trek have a musical, but also like, be careful what you wish for. It was, it was just different, but man, Aaron, I'm sorry it made you angry. I get it. It's not for everybody, but I didn't have a problem with it. It was a little, again, whiplash from the week before where M'Benga is potentially, again, unclear, committing murder, maybe? And then he's skipping in sickbay singing with Chapel. Like, I love it because it's very TOS. It's very TNG where, like you said, it's different. But it was also tonally, I think they kept the character development consistent, though. I felt like this is exactly what we wanted. We wanted character serialization in standalone episodes, and we definitely got that. And I thought that was fantastic.
We definitely got that. Because I think there's like a thing where people assume episodic TV, nothing ever really changes. But I think... And I can not remember the term. But I heard someone call like Friends the first one, where it's episodic, but like the status quo does change. And I think that's what like Strange New Worlds is. And that's actually how I prefer like episodic television.
Right. Like they're not hitting the reset button every episode. Like there is growth. TOS was probably that's the way it was in the 60s. There was no growth. It was just every episode, here's your favorite characters. They're going to do stuff.
Yeah,
and you're going to, either like it or dislike it. They're going to be fun. Yeah. But I would say TNG was the first one to really start to serialize that with like Best of Both Worlds, then Family, then iBorg. Like you have that thread going through. And they started with that serialization, But then, they could only do so much. It was the 80s, But then now you've got this platform where you can do 10 episode seasons. I think we talked about this in Picard season 3. Like we wish we had gotten 12. Like it would have been, maybe we need more. I don't know. It did feel like the season was rushed a little bit with certain plot lines and plot points. And I felt like we didn't get as much Pike as we needed to. I love his relationship with Patel. I know people are either hot or cold on that. Maybe they're ambivalent. I don't know. I fall on the like medium to almost hot. Like I'm good with Patel. I like Patel.
Yeah.
I think she has a lot of potential. I hope she doesn't die. I'm glad they didn't fridge her in the last episode. But you know, she did get
maybe
bit.
they haven't started filming, as far as I know, season 3. So maybe if we just keep talking about how dumb it would be to fridge her, maybe we'll get the point across.
Right? Like stop fridging people. R.I.P. even Zaban, right? Like I get it, but not cool. But Pike really didn't have
dog?
Yes, but it's okay. It's like in the background.
Okay, I'm
Pike
trying.
It's okay. If you need to go for a hot second, let me know. But Pike it's okay. Dogs will be dogs. What are you gonna do? Maybe they'll have an episode where they all turn into bunnies or dogs or something next season. I don't know. Like they hinted that with the Buffy reference.
More Porthos. More dogs in Star Trek.
Porthos. Yes, I haven't seen Enterprise, but I know about Porthos. So,
I've seen very little.
Yeah, me too. I haven't seen. I like Scott Bakula. It's just I'm very hesitant because I hear things about how it didn't end well and there were these spots where it wasn't so great, so I have trouble investing. But I'm going to try probably. If this strike goes on any longer, we're not going to get new track for a long time. Pay the writers, pay the actors, please. SAG-AFTRA, WGA, let's go. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Pay the people who actually do the work, because as far as I can tell, all the executives do is make dumb decisions like taking Prodigy off the platform.
Yeah. And then, yes, I know Anson Mount had paternity leave, quasi-paternity leave. I said that when they were like, why is Kirk coming in so much? I'm like, well, I bet Anson Mount wasn't very available. But even in the time that they used him, I felt like, I don't know. I don't think he got enough story this season for being the lead character. I feel like he needed more. And by the time we got to the Gorn, things were just getting good. And we were starting to see him as this emotional captain, this captain that is so bonded to his crew that he sees Chapel alive. He embraces her. He, Una beats her case and comes back on the Enterprise. He embraces her. Like he's all in with his crew, but that can make his job really tough. So, it was interesting to see
Pike a huggy captain
move forward with that. Yeah. Yeah, I like Huggy Pike. He's better than No Touch Picard, I guess. I don't know, but that was just a season 3 inside joke there. But I think basically with this season, they went all in and it paid off. I think all of the characters got good moments. I feel like we could have seen more of Ortegas. But I think that's coming. I hope that's coming. Hope she's not one of the, casualties, potentially. Yes, Picard was emotionally distant. Pike is space dad, 100%. I would like
none of them to die. Am I being unrealistic? Yeah. Probably. I don't want any of them to die.
It's like that's such a trope, though. Like, it's such a TV trope nowadays. Like, somebody has to die. Like, it was a huge deal when Tasha Yar died on TNG. No one was expecting it. We didn't see it coming. It wasn't done great either, like she did not get a great death, but but I think it would be nice if no one died, if we just figured this out and kept with the crew that we've invested so much in. We already lost Hemmer, so we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, unfortunately.
You're allowed to kill off some no-name extras. But I love Lon, and I will cry.
Or like an entire ship, like the Cayuga. You can just kill them off and don't even check the spaceship for life before you send it as a missile. That's fine.
We got the one we know. We're fine.
Yeah, exactly. It starts to feel a little, really? Chapel was the only one who survived? Are we sure?
Honestly, what I thought would have been good is if they had said the only place still around was the transporter room, and because she was just transported on, that's why she was
in a different. I thought she was in sick bay. She was not in sick bay. She was somewhere else. I'm not sure where she was, but it would have been nice. Somebody had mentioned, I did not come up with this, but it would have been cool if she found McCoy. Like, I get we had Scotty. This was the Scotty episode. I was hoping for McCoy because he's my favorite. Now I'm very happy with Scotty. I think he got a good intro.
I'm glad we're seeing more Scotty over just because
good
McCoy
point, Brian,
has
by the
so
way.
much
Good
in
point.
the original sauce. McCoy has so much stuff in the original series that Scotty
did
really
he though?
doesn't.
Did he?
Compared to like Scotty and Uhura and Sulu, yes.
Well, compared to Uhura, Sulu, and Chekhov, yes, and Scotty to an extent. Scotty had a lot of episodes in the original series. Like he had some stuff to do.
I feel like
not
as
a
lot of like
much as McCoy, but almost
Scotty doing his job, not Scotty doing like character moments.
But like him getting into a bar fight with the Klingons during the Trouble with Tribbles, like we see him in the Wolf. What is that? Wolf in the Fold, where he's like accused of murdering someone. Like he gets episodes. McCoy definitely got more, but I agree they're trying to serve the characters that didn't get a lot in TOS, so that makes sense. But Spock is there, so Kirk is there.
To be fair, Spock. I do not.
And Scotty took the chair a few times. Yes, Jill. Yeah. He sat in the captain's chair quite a bit.
This is true.
He's had to make decisions, important decisions.
The original, we're making a oh my god, like a petition. We want this show, and Spock was like part of that cast that they were saying.
Yeah, and I agree with DT here. Yeah, just transfer them. Let them have their own adventures, and they can have novels, comic books, a spin-off series. I don't know, maybe, yeah, I agree. Maybe Jimmy Doohan would have been a series regular if TOS got season 4. It's a good point. We don't I think that in the movies, Scotty started to take a back seat. So that's where things got
in the movies.
And Uhura was just non-existent. Like they just shipped her off in Star Trek 3. I'm like, why is she not going with the boys? Why is she just going ahead to Vulcan? What's the I'm sure there was a reason. It was not good enough for me. I'm like, so only, why doesn't Uhura get to go on this adventure?
Okay, just because Doohan was voicing everyone else also in the animated series.
That's true. Aaron would know about that. Yeah. It's just But I think Strange New Worlds is walking a fine line with using TOS characters too. I know a lot of people were expressing frustration. Hey, we have Ortegas, we have La'an, we have Una. Una did not get enough this season. She got that awesome episode. And she got more than last season. She got the awesome episode 2, which was probably my second favorite episode of the season. So it was like Lower Decks, then Ed Aspera, then the Subspace Rhapsody for ranking them. Those are my top 3. And then, Una did not, she showed though, like she had to talk Pike down when that, when Mbengo was going a little crazy with the Klingon ambassador on board, she had to kind of help Pike read the room. Like your crew morale is down. Like she knows the crew and she is just solid. She was almost in charge in the last episode.
I almost wonder if because Rebecca Romaine is so famous compared to a lot of the other cast members that if they're worried that she'll overshadow people if they have her more in episodes. Because I was just
I don't think so.
I was why isn't there more Una? I'm trying to
there should be more Una.
Why.
I don't think there's it's just the way that they're writing things. Maybe there's contracts that we don't know about. But I would say they're all in Canada for that period of time. So it's not like they're going anywhere. Maybe they are going back and forth a little bit. But
don't as far as I know, there was nothing with Rebecca Romaine. We know with Anson Mount that he was on paternity leave. And so they wrote a couple Pike Light episodes.
Yeah. So I think maybe we'll get more
he
Una.
Was able to spend time with his baby. But,
yes, I don't begrudge Anson Mount of that. Yeah. I understand that, fully understand that. I just, if you have to look at the season, you have to say, we're missing Pike. Now, is that it's because of behind the scenes issues. It's like, well, yeah, we lost Dr. Beverly Crusher for a whole season because of the stupid misogyny that Gates McFadden faced. Like, it's not cool, but,
Yes.
you know, whereas with Anson Mount, paternity leave, we've come full circle. We are letting men stay home with their babies too. It's amazing. Awesome. But it's behind the scenes stuff that's causing the on-screen issue. And so we have to kind of let it go a little bit, which I'm trying to. I just like Pike so much. I want more.
I know, I do. I'm just like, yeah, I think every conclusion I've come to is I want a longer season. I think that's the like.
Yeah.
Does Paramount want to give the budget for a longer season?
They're not going to do it, especially when they're cutting back. Like they're, And I don't know.
The thing is,
now I'm going to have to go in a couple of minutes, Rachel. I'm going to have to leave in a couple of minutes.
No,
so
no problem. I would say I'd be good with a bottle episode, but I feel like they probably feel like that's beneath them now. Like Paramount, not necessarily like. But yeah, I was just gonna say I really enjoyed this season overall, and I really enjoyed being able to talk about like all the episodes with everyone and get like everyone's opinions. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, it's definitely been. It was a good time. I had a great time watching it. It was a kind of refreshing after the heaviness of Picard season 3 and that kind of, we're going to tell a story in a week and we're just going to be in this one place. Like it was nice to get serialized serialized character development with standalone storytelling and to kind of hop around. I don't know how long this season spanned because I'm not sure what the time jumps were between episodes, but I thought that they did a really good job. And I hope we get everybody back to finally get the conclusion to this epic cliffhanger that's going to be very painful to wait like 18 months to 2 years for a resolution.
Please pay the actors and writers so they can go film. Please.
All excuses, all these articles in Variety about how showrunners don't want writers' rooms. That's not what Terry Matalas had said. He had a writer's room. Like, these people want... Michelle Paradise said that. She wanted a writer's room.
It's funny.
Give the writers a job, you know? Like, they need work. They need consistent work to pay their bills, to get health insurance. And writers' rooms need to be, like, once you're tight, like, that's what series do on network TV. And it works really well. When you have a writer's room, you can bounce ideas off each other. I think that's why Picard season 3 was written so well. Like, because you had different... You had 2 women writers in the room. It wasn't just dudes writing. And it wasn't just one or the other writing. Like, there were multiple, infinite diversity and infinite combinations, right? That's what we want in a writer's room. Exactly. That means you're going to have more than, like, 2 writers on staff. And it helps. Like there can be associate writers, there can be different levels, but you need multiple people. And sometimes that can be tough because if you're a showrunner that just wants your vision and not too many hands in the pot, I guess that could be difficult. But Star Trek's about inclusion and moving forward. So I hope they can expand the writer's room.
A showrunner that wants like it's only my voice is rare. But I'm gonna say both Gilmore Girls and like The West Wing have that kind of vision. They both had writers' rooms that would help them like break stories, and then they would go
super familiar with the characters, with what's going on. Absolutely, but what I find interesting is you have those quotes in things like Variety, and they said like someone said no one's asking for this except anonymous. No idea who actually said that. Every single showrunner I've seen saying it with their mouth, with their face, putting it out there. Just a blanket statement made by anonymous sources. Like that's not great. That's not great journalism to me.
Every member of the WGA I've actually seen talk.
Yeah, and I feel like just listen to Michelle Hurd. Like, you know, follow her on Instagram. She's telling it like it is. Follow the Trek guys on Twitter, the Trek writers, Trek showrunners that are tweeting about this, like Bill Wolkoff and I don't know if Henry Alonso Myers is on Twitter. I haven't seen him, but I know he's the co-showrunner with Akiva Goldsman of Strange New Worlds. So, I mean, I would say pay him. Just do it. You can afford. It can work. Yeah. There's nothing but greed standing in the way of this. So, you know.
Also, to all the execs, no one needs to be a billionaire.
They're raising our rates. Like you're asking us to pay more, and now we've got to wait 2 years to see our favorite shows again. Like
I
they're banking on stuff. This whole thing's gonna crash down. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't
they
know enough
I'm gonna
to
say they
claim to
all
be an
seem to
expert, but
be
it sounds to
thinking
me like
of
this is not on the right track right now.
they all seem to be so concerned about immediate profits. No one has thought about the future like beyond like 5 minutes, and it's very weird to me. I was
Even what
like,
they're
oh,
doing
like
with the
okay,
Star Trek IP, they're not capitalizing
yeah,
on this amazing franchise that they have with merch, with how
with
they're doing the
merch.
shows. They're cutting,
This okay.
leaving
This is
Save Prodigy, leaving
yeah.
Prodigy
The
out of it,
fact
pulling that. Come
the
on
fact
now.
that my cardboard cutout was such a big hit in Vegas that I had
Mm.
multiple people asking me where I got it. It's a cardboard cutout. Murph is
We
very
all love
cute, but it's
Murph.
still a cardboard cutout. Yeah.
Yeah.
I the fact that a adorable character from a kids cartoon has like basically let's call it like 1.5 pieces of merch.
Hmm.
I'm not counting that stupid popcorn bowl. It's $60 and insane.
Yeah.
I like it's so weird. Yes, like
Yeah,
I
it's strange. I just want to I don't want to end on a sour note cuz I have to
yeah
go. Rachel, I don't know if you want to wrap up
yeah.
here, but I'm going to
That
have to
would be
peace
good. But
out.
I would say I love all of the shows currently on. That's what
Yes. Yep.
all of the people
Agree.
making the shows are amazing, and it's because I love this season.
Strange New Worlds is great.
I
All the
mhm,
Trek that's on right now is good. We have Lower Decks coming up, then Discovery, the final season.
yeah
So, we do have more Star Trek on the horizon. It's just Strange New Worlds. This is going to be the last we're going to see in a long while. So,
yeah
I enjoyed it. I thought
I
it
hope
worked. I hope they get to come back soon and do more so we can see what's going on.
yeah.
Father
Oh,
Ray.
jumping in for wrapping up, but jumping in at the end here,
Hi.
Father.
Hi, excuse me. hadn't hadn't spoke in a while, I guess. I just wanted to thank y'all for coming on board the stream tonight and just remind everyone in the audience that Dave and I will be back tomorrow night for a deep dive discussion on season 2 and sharing our thoughts on the entire season as a whole. So I hope people come back for that. And this will probably be the last Thursday night stream until we get Lower Decks going in September. But
Yeah,
people seem to like these, so I say we keep doing them for the other
yeah,
shows as
they're a
well.
lot of fun.
Fun hanging out with everybody in the chat and here on screen, It's been
Yeah.
fun.
And Dave and I will have some stuff. I haven't quite figured out what we're doing like next week, but we'll still have like a show on Friday next week. So
Cool. All right. Well, I have enjoyed this, but I'm going to have to peace out
Yeah.
and say live long and
I
prosper.
yeah.
Good
Thank
seeing
you
you.
guys.
Live long
Bye.
and
See you
prosper,
too.
everyone.
Yes.
Bye.